Hey girl, hey. So, trigger warning. This is a heavy topic. Talks about self-harm and suicide. So, if this is not the right time for you to be watching this, please leave. You can come back any other time. But I felt compelled to do this because I lost someone who I'd never met in person, but whose book I had read, whose content I followed, and who was a presence online that I appreciated. I'd never met her, but her voice mattered to me, and I found it very shocking, and then again, not so, that she decided to leave. And unfortunately, I know the connection deeply between perimenopause, mental health, and suicide. So I sat with it for about a minute before I realized I need to go do some research and I need to address this and I need to bring it out here. One thing I did find that was shocking was that women between the ages of 45 and 54 have the highest suicide rate of all groups of women. No other age group tops it. And we need to look at that closely because that timing, that's perimenopause. And if you've been around here for any length of time, you know that I have found and research states perimenopause can start in your 30s. So while the group 45 to 54 has the highest rate, we also need to acknowledge perimenopause can start in your 30s. And just because you're 45 doesn't mean that's when it starts. A 2025 study, actually, it's a review of 19 different studies, found an 84% real link between the menopause transition and suicidal thoughts across the 19 studies. And one study found that perimenopausal women were 7 times more likely to report suicidal thoughts than any women before or after the transition. 7 times. Just let that sit for a second. That's a lot. Here's something that we need to look at, and it's hormones. And if you've been here, you know this is my favorite topic, hormones. Estrogen and progesterone are big players here. Estrogen and progesterone affect brain chemistry. We have receptors all over our brains, and they regulate your mood, not just your cycle. And when those hormones fluctuate wildly, which is what perimenopause is or does, your mental health also can fluctuate like that. And this has nothing to do with your willpower, your past, your present, and your future. It just is because we have those hormones. And those hormones are acting sporadic and crazy through no fault of our own. There's some new research that found 1 in 6 women in perimenopause report suicidal thoughts. And unfortunately, most depression screenings are missing this completely. And being completely honest, yeah, I have I have not been one who missed out on this. This has been something that has ebbed and flowed in my life for the better part of 15 years, which is if I look back when perimenopause began for me. And I know the feeling of being in the bottom of my barrel, which is how I describe it, the deepest depths of depression. I know what that feels like. And I know how hard it is to talk about and to bring it out and to present it. There's unfortunately a seeming taboo about it or that it shouldn't be talked about. But that's kind of, in my opinion, the problem. Because if we talk about it, we can help it, I think. Which is why I'm on here anyway, which is talking about perimenopause, menopause, premenopause, menstrual cycles, all the things that our mothers and grandmothers chose to or were forced to due to societal pressures and standards to put under the rug, to ignore, to not acknowledge, to deny. I can only imagine the difference it would have made in my life if I had known that hormones were a factor 15 years ago when I was going to the doctor saying, something's not right. Can you check my hormones? And they would look at me cross eyed and like they'd been hit upside the head with a pan and they were stupefied. It was maddening. And I'm 1,000,000% sure I am not the only one who's experienced this. And I have a therapist. At times, I've had two therapists in a week. Not one of them has ever discussed hormones with me. Not one of them has ever mentioned the potential of hormones having an effect on anything with my brain health. Now, let me pause to say if you are having thoughts of suicide right now, please reach out for help. In the US, dial 988. You are in another country, please Google a number to call. Reach out to a friend, somebody who can listen to you, can hold space for you to be honest and frank and seek mental health care. If you can, seek provider care. Look for providers who are knowledgeable about menopause and hormones. Menopause.org is the place to go for that, or one of a few places. And, girl, if you're in perimenopause and things are feeling heavier, things are feeling off, you're not feeling quite like yourself no matter what you do. Maybe you spend a day hiding in your closet or not getting out of your bed. First of all, you're not alone. Secondly, tell your provider and ask your provider about the connection between hormones and mental health. And if they are not willing to have that conversation, you get up and you find another provider. Menopause.org. Start there. You deserve someone who listens. We all deserve to be listened and acknowledged and validated and just somebody out there to deep dive into the research to assist us. That is not that much to ask. And I'm here to support you and encourage you in the process. So, if you haven't done something to love yourself lately, please do that. If you don't know what that looks like, please message me and I will help you. If you feel too heavy to do that, reach out to your provider, reach out to your best friend, message me, call the emergency hotline. There are resources available to you. I understand. I've been there more times than I want to count. Please take care of yourself. All my love until next time.